Today we're going to talk about why you are so freaking tired on carnivore diets and how to get some energy without drinking coffee. I think I like this little life. Welcome everyone, welcome to my humble life where crazy things are happening behind the scenes, but like I haven't dropped a ball yet. All right, let's get into it. The energy thing on carnivore diets, any diet, but really carnivore, keto. Where did the energy go? Now, I come up with these concepts when I read the comments on my YouTube channel. Yes, I watch them and I read them. A lot of you guys are still doing coffee. I did a coffee video expressing how crappy and horrible it is to drink the coffee. But why don't you have energy? Now, most of you probably know this. You can't get energy from protein. Contrary to popular belief, eating more and more protein is just making you more and more tired. People don't feel it at first because, sort of like the vegan world, when you cut out the garbage, like all the plant toxins and all the processed food, processed carbohydrates and sugars and alcohol and things of that nature, you actually feel quite good. And that's what is confusing to a lot of people because they're just trucking along and all of a sudden it's like somebody took a big huge iron frying pan and smashed them on the nose. Bang! It's like, wait, why do I feel bad? Well, let's go into, it's so important to understand your energy because literally everything is connected to not only if you have energy or not, but if you have energy, where's it coming from? Okay, if you're a person who eats a lot of protein, you can't get good energy from protein. It's an amino acid. Your muscles have a lot of storage. If protein were to be a particular gasoline type, your muscles can't store glycogen off of protein. They can from carbohydrates. Yes, we do have the ability to break down carbohydrates. We have amylase in our saliva, which is an enzyme that helps break down carbohydrates, and we also have insulin, and we have caloric acids. We have the ability clearly to eat sweet fruits, carbohydrates, and honey. Now the starches, if you were to live out in the tundra, we probably would not be eating raw tubers and raw starch, and we probably would not be having grains and rice. Tubers, yes. Potatoes in certain climates and South American countries, regions rather. If you look at it like this, in nature, things that grow sort of worldwide is wild spinach, berries. When you start getting into the potato, it's very regional. So we pretty much can sort of like get rid of all the starch because in nature we wouldn't have the accessibility to starch. We can break down honey. And we can break down things like figs that grow wild. And when they drop and they're going to germinate, when they are aged, is when they become the sweetest. And the anti-nutrients are downregulated. The problem is that we've learned how to process our starches. If you put a cracker in your mouth, it's going to liquefy like this if you keep a cracker in your mouth for 5 minutes. But if you put a piece of broccoli in your mouth, it's going to stay in solid form because of the fiber. So think about it. You take a piece of broccoli, you put it in a blender, you break down the fiber, and then you drink it. Well, if you blend something enough to where it's mushy and like oatmeal texture-y, your body has to, or your stomach or digestive tract has less need to break down, or less caloric acids to break down that fiber. The problem is, in nature, we would need that fiber. We would need digestion to slow down. Anything that moves too quickly through the digestive tract is a problem, because we're not equipped for that. We're equipped to chew your food until it's oatmeal or chyme. Chyme is the liquid mushiness of all the food. And then you swallow, and then of course we start going into second and third stages of digestion to go from mouth to cell in your body. People begin to develop chronic fatigue when they do carnivore, because of course you drop out your carbohydrates and the body's like, I'm sorry, where are they? And then people start eating copious amounts of protein, which converts back into sugar. It can give you glycogen storage within the liver, but you need it in the muscle. And it can't restore glycogen in the muscle. So why do some of you just not feel tired? Because of your adrenals. Your body goes into a fight or flight mode, and your body's able to raise your blood sugar and give you energy in a state of an emergency. But the primal body doesn't understand we're not in an emergency. When you're doing the one meal a day and then going and doing cardio, to the primal body, it thinks you're running from a lion. So we need quick energy, which means the breakdown of proteins in your body to convert into glucose, raise your blood sugar, but not store energy in the muscles. When you are consuming a lot of protein and you're not storing glycogen and you're not in ketosis, because that would require a lot of fat, you start to feel tired. And if you don't feel tired, it's not because you found some secret fuel that other people are not aware of. It's because your adrenals have taken over. And that's when people start to develop things like pregnenolone steal, or a spike or a drop in their DHEA, and then their reproductive hormones start getting weird. Yeah, it's a whole to-do. So the first reason why your energy might drop is just simply eating too much protein, not enough fat. There's other problems with protein. I've done so many videos, like the protein byproducts, the waste products, the high uric acid, the high B12, iron. Be very careful, my people. A lot of the gurus don't mention this stuff because they either don't know, or they have selective understanding of whatever they're educating people on. Like, if people are having issues with high B12, it's got to be addressed, even if it's the lesser of, or less people. This brings me to the concept of ketosis. A lot of gurus are saying eat more fat, but how much fat? How much? I mean, can you still do like would it be an 80-20, like 80% protein, 20% fat? No. Typically in the keto days, they would do an 80-15-5. Now, I don't like to do percentages, 5% carbohydrate, 15% protein, and 80% fat, which is a really good guide, but from how many grams of fat? Most people need to be, and I mean the very most, need to be 200 grams to 300 grams of fat to be able to teach the body how to make ketones via the liver, and then get them into the Krebs cycle, into the cells, into the body, and use that as a fuel rather than glycogen. It's way more stable to be using ketones over blood sugar. Blood sugar goes up and it crashes, up crash, up crash, up crash, especially if the carbohydrates involve starch or sugars, or you're just a stress monger and your body can create high sugar without eating any carbs or any sugars, and that's through gluconeogenesis. A lot of you guys have heard me throw that word around. That's your body's ability to, in crisis, break down proteins anywhere in the body and use it for energy. That's not a good idea, because that's why people age. Like, you can take from the skin, the collagen under the skin, bone marrow. It can affect your reproductive system to where you start having low testosterone. You could drop or spike your DHEA, like I mentioned. It's a thing called pregnenolone steal. So when your body is stressed out, it'll rob from your sex hormonal tree, starting with pregnenolone, then DHEA. That's another reason why you guys feel freaking tired. Because of that pregnenolone steal effect. And then when testosterone drops, people feel depressed. They feel exhausted. Yes. Somebody made a comment about where to look. I'm like, I'm on my phone. I have a really nice camera, but I don't have time. So if I look in a weird spot, I have no clue that I'm doing it, and it really doesn't matter. I digress. Let's continue. The other certain aspects of having low energy is your thyroid. Yeah. And it's the hypothalamus, right here, pituitary, below, adrenal, back there, and thyroid axis. And when you're in the chronic fight or flight mode, the body can start down-regulating a hormone called T3, and you feel tired. And you get fat real easy if you're hypothyroid. You don't want to be in that lane. Years ago, women were not hypothyroid. Now it's like you get a car and you get hypothyroid and you get PCOS and you get estrogen dominance, and men, you get low testosterone. We have to start looking at the reasons, the causes, and how to fix them. The thyroid is a big one. That can make you tired. It's trying to slow you down. It's like, hello, slow down. Or you could have adrenal insufficiencies like Addison's disease, because again, you're like over cranked out your adrenal system. These are reasons for feeling tired because you're not in ketosis. You cannot get energy from protein. You guys need to realize that. But other reasons are like people are fasting and doing carnivore. You have to consider if you fast, now it's even worse because, you're running on liver glucose, or glycogen rather, and of course that's going to give you like 10 minutes of energy. But now you've got nothing in the tank. And that's when you start to see people's hair falling out on a carnivore diet because they're like eating 1 meal a day and they're fasting and they're doing a bunch of stuff. And at first they don't feel anything, and then after a while you can see it on people how fast they age. But then there's the electrolyte problem. I know. You can feel tired if you're sodium depleted, if you're sodium and potassium depleted. If you are dehydrated and don't know it, you're going to feel tired. And heart palpy. Yeah, it's horrible. It is absolutely horrible to have heart palps. But let's go to the dehydration, because then that leads to low blood pressure. I know people who are chronically dehydrated, doesn't matter how much water you drink, it matters if you're balancing your electrolytes and absorbing them, because you might have leaky gut. So people can feel absolutely gutted, tired. It's so bizarre. It doesn't matter how much protein you eat. You're still going to feel tired if your electrolytes are tanking. But there's more, like high iron. You're not absorbing the iron, so you feel tired. Or you're not absorbing the B12, even though you're eating copious amounts of protein, you feel tired. Well, clearly I have alluded to the solutions, which is to eat high fat. But how much? The average female, this is average, this is not the individual, is going to have anywhere from 200 to 220 grams of fat coming from animal fat. That's with the functioning gallbladder. On the plate, rather. That is rendered fat and the fat that's in the meat. And for men, it can literally be from 200 to about 380. Because that's like a really active, younger, super tall guy with lean mass can go up to 380 and even sometimes 400 grams of fat a day split up throughout the day. You have to eat enough fat. You have to balance your electrolytes. You have to get your stress down. You have to seal the gut wall so you're not B12 high or low, or iron high or low. But other things people don't think about is to balance your gut microbiome by adding a wee bit amount of prebiotic fiber like asparagus, because when you have a dysbiotic gut, and meat cannot stabilize bacteria, and that makes sense. Meat is not stabilizing the bacteria. It can add bacteria, but it can't stabilize beneficial bacteria, and that's where a little bit of prebiotic fiber comes in, because that works like Velcro to the microbes that are in your gut, the existing microbes, and keeps them stable. And a lot of gurus freak out when I talk about this, but proof is in the pudding that you need fiber a little bit, not a lot. You can ride that line of carnivore, because so many people that I coach end up being bloated or seeing food in the stool. I know. From plants that they've never experienced this before. But the very, very last two things, my air conditioning, I got to speak over it because we got to edit this video. The last two things would be, you're not absorbing your amino acids, so you're not even getting good liver glycogen storage. The muscles can't repair. Ooh, I gotta speak even louder to outwit this stupid RV air conditioning. Not sleeping enough, not going to bed early, not following a circadian rhythm, not exercising the right way, not having the right posture, and not diaphragmatic breathing to lower cortisol, because cortisol can zap your energy. So meditate, get your feet out into the soil and get some electrons, go to bed early, and of course get vitamin D, because look how tan I am. Super tan, tan. That'll always help you sleep and give you energy. On carnivore diets, make sure you get fat, animal fat that's high in vitamin D, E, A, and K to help your skin and help get enough vitamin D dietarily. And exercise, but don't over-exercise. Don't exercise late at night. Take care of your adrenals. Don't pound 2 pounds of beef, where you put stress on the digestion and skyrocket the blood sugar, because what goes up crashes, and that high protein ends up reacting like a candy bar in your body. And if you don't believe me, check your blood sugar fasted 2 hours after a meal. Check your HbA1c and your insulin, and you're going to be like, dang, she's right. I know. Have a fabulous, and I mean fabulous, life. Because now I got to edit this biatch. Comment below and tell me, are you having problems with foamy urine, tired, coffee, that you can't do the carnivore diet without coffee, so you think and are looking for something caffeinated like chocolate or green tea or matcha or whatever. What else do people do? Lots of weird stuff to try to still sneak in caffeine when their adrenals are stretched out. Comment below. And I'm out. Peace. Energy. 56 going on 57. Life is good. It is so tough, but I'm telling you, you got to be your own boss. And I'm out.